What was the boy in the video who was shoveling?
It was a girl.
I think it was.
Oh, it was a girl. I'm sorry. What was the girl
woman.
in the video that was shoveling?
I don't know, but I believe you
What
can
was
fit through that
what was
now.
she doing? What was
She was helping.
Shoveling her
She was
neighbors.
shoveling her neighbor's drive, right?
Yeah,
I didn't get that at first.
I know.
Because he was
Ah.
like, help your neighbor. I was like, and then when he walked out, I was
Yeah.
like, why isn't he helping her?
The owner is just talking about her, watching it.
Yeah.
She was helping her neighbor, right?
He was procrastinating.
We're going to talk today. We're going to talk today about our call as disciples to help our neighbors, and how that's not always real easy for us to see how we can do that, and sometimes we think, well, that's not possible. I don't have anything that I can help others with. All right. So first thing I want to do, I told you before, I asked you if you thought I could cut a hole in the index card and pass my body through. Some of you said yes, some of you said no. So I took the index card
That's not-
and I cut a hole in it. I'm going to see if it was possible.
We did this in 6th
That's
grade.
not the index card, is it?
That is the index card.
You're gonna rip it.
Oh!
I'd laugh when we actually ripped it. When he was trying to take his foot out of it.
Whoa.
Aha! Right?
You're on the index card?
So,
Can I touch it?
we saw the problem. Okay, can you cut a hole in here and pass your body through this?
Yep.
No, that's impossible. That's
How'd
not
you
big
do
enough.
that?
There's no
I
way,
said
right?
yes.
Right?
I said yes.
But it was possible.
How did he do that?
It was
I
possible,
think you
right?
folded it and cut it in.
So, today,
What?
I need y'all to keep your voices down so I don't have to talk over you. Okay? Today, we're going to talk about a familiar story that most of you have heard, maybe all of you have heard before. But before we get into it, I want to talk about some key words that we're going to use today. Who can tell me what that says on the board? Jake.
Abundance.
Abundance. Can you give me a definition for the word abundance?
Lots or a plethora.
A
Yes.
plethora or lots of something very good. Good, good.
A bunch.
Right? So abundance is having more than enough. More than enough. This is how much I need. I've got more than that. I've got an abundance of what I need.
A bundle.
A bundle, a bunch. Yes, all those kind of things, right? So abundance is a word that we're going to use today. Who can tell me what this word is? Yes, Mandy.
Scarcity.
Scarcity. Exactly. What is the definition? Who can give me a definition? Or Esther.
Sacred.
Having less than enough.
Less than enough. You know what? I think that's exactly what I have here. Let's see here.
Not
having
having
enough.
fail.
Less than enough, right? So abundance, more than enough. Scarcity,
Not
less
enough.
than enough. All right? Let's see what our next word
It's
is.
scarce that you don't have enough.
Are you?
It's
Who can tell me what this word is?
Ooh.
Yes.
to multiply.
No, what's this word?
To multiply.
The word
Multiplication.
is not.
Okay, but you got to define the word, not using part of this word. Give me a definition for it. Yes.
What you do with that?
Two times.
All right?
Two times it by another thing.
Double it or triple.
Okay. Okay, so taking a number or an amount of something
It's like
and
That's like-
increasing
yeah.
it greatly, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're going to use for a definition. The act of increasing something greatly, whether it's a number or a volume of something, we're going to increase something greatly. Okay? All right. Thank you. Miranda, give us a definition for blessing.
Sometimes a prayer.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Like a prayer or something.
A prayer, okay. Carly?
Like at the end of a church service, the pastor will say, like, a blessing, and will say, like, go in peace and serve the Lord.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Gifts.
A gift. These are all good definitions, okay? For our purposes, we're going to use this definition here. A blessing, when you receive a blessing, what did it do?
Oh. It's kind of like.
We're going to
They may
define
come to that,
blessings.
Mr. Matt.
That's good luck.
Sorry?
They may come to that.
No, that's right. We're going to define it as all good things. Blessings are good things that we receive in our lives. Okay? Perfect. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take out your Bibles. Okay? And this is the main thought that we're going to think about today. Okay? God responds to human need with abundance. Remember what we said the definition of abundance was? More than enough? So God responds to our human needs with more than enough, with more than what we need. Okay? And we're going to read a few stories in the Bible that give us examples of that. All right? So first one we're going to read is Exodus 16, starting with the first verse.
The whole congregation of the Israelites set out from Elim, and Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they had departed from their land of Egypt. The whole congregation of the Israelites complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the hand of our Lord in the land of Egypt, and we sat by the flesh pots and ate our fill of bread, for you have brought us out into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." Then the Lord said to Moses, "I'm going to rain bread from heaven for you, and each day the people shall go out and gather enough for that day. In that way I will test them, whether they will follow my instruction or not. On the sixth day when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather on other days."
All right, let's stop right there. So, who can tell me what's happening in the story so far? Ethan.
The people are kind of losing their faith in God.
Okay, which people are we talking about? You know?
The Israelites.
The Israelites, okay? Remember, last semester we talked about the Israelites being under the reign of Pharaoh, and Moses came in and freed them from Egypt and sent the 10 plagues. God sent the 10 plagues, and Pharaoh agreed to let them go, so they're out. They've left Egypt, and they're traveling, and they're in the desert for a long, long, long time, and they're starting to what? What are they starting to get? Hungry, right? They don't have food. They don't have drink. They're starving. They're saying, what's going to happen? And what does God tell them he'll do?
The rain.
Rain down food.
Says he's going to give them meat and bread. He says he's going to give them enough to eat, right? Okay, so who's going to read for us at verse 11 through 15? 11 through 15. Thank you, Emily Myers.
The Lord spoke to Moses and said, "I have heard the complaining of the Israelites. Say to them, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall have your fill of bread. Then you shall know that I am the Lord your God." In the evening quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a fine, flaky substance, as fine as the frost on the ground. When the Israelites saw it, they said to one another, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. Moses said to them, "It is the bread that the Lord your God has given to you to
Okay.
eat."
Perfect. So, did God provide for them? Right? God provided. Picture yourself out in the middle of the desert. You've been traveling for years and years and years. You think, oh my goodness, we're going to die out here because we don't have anything to eat. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. And we're starving to death here. What's going to happen? And God provides. Right? God gives them actually more than what they need. He gives them an abundance of food. Right? He turns the dew on the ground into manna, into bread that they can eat. And he gives them quail to eat. Quail like the bird, little meat. Right? Okay? So God gives them more than what they need. Alright, we're going to turn in your Bible to Matthew chapter 14. This is for us. 13, 14, 15.
Now when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the towns. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them, and cured their sick. When it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "There is a deserted place." Is it deserted?
Deserted.
Okay. "And the hour is now late. Send the crowds away, so that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves."
Okay, I need someone to read 16, 17, 18. Thank you, Mandy.
Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them here to me," he said.
All right, 18, 19, 20. We'll read 18, 19, 24. Is that right? Yes. Go ahead, Mandy. You can keep reading.
Yay. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looking up to the heavens, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketful of broken pieces and were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, besides women and children.
Okay, perfect. So, raise your hand if you've heard the story before. Who can give me a brief summary of the story? Can you go, Katie?
This is like the feeding of the 5,000
Yep.
or something.
Yep.
Yeah. And there was like one loaf of bread and 2 fish.
Okay.
And there was enough to go around for all the 5,000 people.
Okay, perfect. So, there again, I want you to put yourself in the story, okay? So, you are the townspeople. You've been, or let's do this. You're the disciples, okay? You're followers of Jesus. And you've been following Jesus around as he's been performing miracles and curing people and all sorts of wonderful things, right? And you're tired, right? You're real tired. So you go with Jesus and he says, okay, we're going to go over to this remote place, this deserted place, and we'll rest. We'll get away from the crowds, we'll get away from everything, we'll put our feet up and we'll relax a little bit. Okay, Jesus, that sounds good, we'll do that. So they go, but the people that have been following the disciples and Jesus, they get word of this. We can't let them get away, we want to have more of this. We want Christ to continue to do these wonderful things for us. So the crowd of people follows the disciples and Jesus. Right? They think they're going to be alone, but they're not. So now the crowd of people is there. 5,000 men. And see what it says here? Besides women and children. Right? So it's 5,000 men plus women and children. So 5,000. There's a lot more than 5,000 people with them, right?
10,000.
And what did the disciples say? What did the disciples say? Do they say, hey, this is great. We love being around all these people?
No, they say go and eat. Leave and go
Okay.
get some food.
Okay? They turn to Jesus and they say, Jesus, these people are following us. How about this, Jesus? How about they'll listen to you? You tell them, Jesus, to go into the cities and go away and find their own food and find their own places to eat and to find their own places to sleep. If you tell them that, Jesus, they'll listen to you. And what's Jesus' response? What's he say?
No.
Says no.
You tell them to stay.
Okay.
Stay with some boys.
He says, tell them to stay. What else does he tell them? What does he tell to the disciples?
And scavenge up.
That's exactly right. Say that again, Harris.
And you get food for them.
That's the key. In my mind, that's the key for this whole story.
I thought
He
they
says, no, we're not going to send them away. He says, you feed them. You feed them. You find a way to feed them. They're coming to us for nourishment. They're coming to us for healing. They're coming to us for everything they need. You feed them. He puts that responsibility on the disciples themselves. Yes, Jake?
I think Jesus was using reverse psychology. Tell them to stay, and maybe they'll leave.
Oh, maybe. But I think more than that, I think he was challenging the disciples to stretch themselves and to figure out how they're going to do this. How are they going to tend to the needs of those people that are there? Yes?
didn't they take like some little boy's food that he gave them or something?
That's interesting. That's interesting that you say that, because in this version that we read, it didn't mention
Oh,
a
it's
boy.
actually in the Bible that it says.
Yes.
boy.
Yeah.
This, okay, that's in the Luke
Luke.
version with where the boy provides this. Okay, here's the interesting thing about this story. This is the only miracle story that is found in all 4 Gospels.
Whoa.
It's the only story of the miracle. Not when Jesus turns water into wine, that's not in all 4. When he
Except for
heals the blind man, that's not in all 4. This is the only miracle story that's found in all 4 Gospels. So to me, yes, Pastor Casey?
And who can name the 4 Gospels? Jake.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and
Very
Genesis.
good.
And
Matthew,
all
Mark, Luke,
4,
John.
and all 4 of these?
All four Gospels have this story in it. So to me, that means this is an important story. This is something that really stands out and is really important for us to know. Christ is showing us that we have the responsibility to provide for others. Not only do we have the responsibility, but we have the ability. We can do it. Sometimes when we're asked to feed people or asked to do good things for people, we think, I can't do that. I've only got 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, like in the story. There's no way that's going to be enough to feed all these people. But when we stop and we turn to Christ and we turn to God and we say, I need your help. I'm willing to do this, but I need your help. He makes it possible. Okay? He helps us to find everything we need to serve others. All right?